hitting the button. Everything's running. Hello. Are we on?
Are we on? Hello?
on?
I'm sorry. I was chatting with Steve Burke from Gamers Nexus.
Hey.
He's just sitting here pinging me. I'm like, dude, I'm going live. I'm asking if he has any messages for the fans. Hello, welcome. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Today is Tuesday.
We streamed on Wednesday last night.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And usually we do Tuesdays, but usually we do earlier in the day. So two things. Number one, we already had lunch, so I'm a little tired. You know, you get that after lunch, just like it's nap time. So a little more low energy. I'll try to keep it up. Number two, our guest is me. Hello. I'm going to interview myself. I'm just kidding. No, it's not. We have a great guest lined up. The Fox, Carrie the Fox, over on YouTube. He's awesome dude. We interviewed him at LTX. He is going to be joining us, but he had messaged me saying that his 40-minute commute turned into 2 hours, almost 2 hours. So we decided to roll and just just kind of BS for a little bit. A really, really extended pre-show. So if you want to see when the actual show starts, there'll be a timestamp. Go hit that timestamp. We're just gonna kind of sit here and chat, just me and this guy on the TV here. Oh, and Willis is here too.
Hello, everyone. Here I am. Hi. Ziv was asking, a friend of the show, Ziv was asking, making sure to tell you to ask Fox, what does the Fox say?
What does the Fox say?
What does the Fox say?
That's a good question. And Steve has a message for us fans. This is right here, fresh off the presses. Breaking news. He says hello.
Hello.
Also, congrats on having lunch. But I think he was meaning to say that to me, not to actually to Steve. Oh, does that mean he's watching? Oh, maybe that means he's in here just lurking. And then we got okay. I think my audio is on. We got a $2 super chat. Thank you so much from CR Pole, $2. Hi to Gordon. Unfortunately, Gordon couldn't be here again, but I will say hi to him for you. Let's see. I'm gonna go back over there, and so we got all the friends of the show. Lewis Law, Tank 2. Actually, I don't know if Tank 2 is a friend of the show, but I'm gonna call you a friend of the show anyway. Bori Zero, yeah. Sid Lives, Trick Shot, Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Tweedledum.
Who's
you know
Tweedledum?
What? That image looks really familiar. Oh, look, and there we got a Wild Steve in the chat. He is he's definitely watching, seeing me talk about lunch. But yeah, we're I'm just gonna kind of burn some time. I even asked Elena, I was like, hey, do you want to pop in? She can't join us for the full show, so she might even pop in. But you know what? Why don't we? So I kind of started this last week where I talked a little bit about like a couple tidbits that aren't appropriate for full segments on the show, but I was like, you know what, I still kind of want to bring it up. So I have a couple things here. I got in 8-Bit Do had sent me, and I have to correct everyone, it's 8-Bit Do. I have asked the company many times, how do you pronounce the name of this company, and they've told me every time it's 8-Bit Do.
8-Bit Do, not 8-Bit Dough.
Not 8-Bit Dough. It's 8-Bit Do. I don't make the rules. Okay. I just asked the PR company many times. I was like, please, can you just tell me again? I even asked them in person. They were in person at a E3. Can't remember the last E3 I went to, maybe 2018, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'd asked them in person. I was like, please. It's Do. Do. 8-Bit Do.
You got it mixed up too.
Anyway, it's a mechanical keyboard, and it's not just any mechanical keyboard. This is the fancy kind. It's heavy. Like when you pick it up, you're just like, oh, that's when you know that it's a nice mechanical keyboard. So they actually sent me 2 units. I'm actually sending this extra one to our writer Mike Kreider, who reviews keyboards over on the site. But I actually did switch to this on my daily machine, and yeah, this is the first time with not... Oh, and a Wild Elena E is appearing. This is the first time I'm not using a major company mechanical keyboard, like a Razer or Corsair or something like that. Mm-hmm. So this has like fancy switches in it. Yeah, anyway, I like it. I like it except for 10-key. I'm a 10-key guy. You're a 10-key guy?
I am a 10-key guy.
Yeah, but
it's so tough to just, get the numbers on top. I'd rather have it on the side.
You should do a poll. Ask people how if they prefer 10 key or not. Let's just start there, because I know there's like 60, 65%, 69%, 72%, 63%. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just making up numbers now. Elena, hello.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi. I am a wild Elena that has appeared.
Okay.
Hey.
You'll be the first one to answer. Are you a 10 keyless person or no?
10 keyless. That's for ergonomics. So what I do when I actually have to do more data entry is I have a separate keypad with the 10 key, and I pull that out when I need it.
Oh, man. Bob Jones says he wants 120% keyboard. I have no idea what the hell that means. Also, Steve, yes. Steve, yes. I know the viewers vehemently correct you to say 8-bit do, but I have asked them multiple times over the years. Like I covered their first controllers when they launched years and years ago. That was actually some of the first videos I ever did on the PC World channel myself, was the controller coverage. I'm sure Gordon was pulling out his hair. That's why he just doesn't have hair anymore. He's like, we're covering controllers? What the hell? Anyway, and yeah, I'd asked them at the time, and then I'd asked them again later, and then I asked them in person, and that wasn't at the PR person. That was actually like a company person. And they said do. Every time they told me do. So I'm going to say.
Yeah. The pronunciation gets everybody every time.
Right. And yes, you should please cite me. Steve, you can cite me all day long. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I brought in this extra one. I'm going to send to Mike. So I still need to tell him about that. Actually,
I have mine too. I haven't opened it. I got the Famicom one.
Okay. Why'd you
I didn't have mine sent
one?
to me by PR. I actually bought myself a present.
So,
and I got the Famicom version one.
What's your? But I thought you liked the ergonomic kind of keyboards.
Oh, this is okay. Let me go get it so we can have some show and tell.
Okay.
But the reason I got it is because I have multiple PCs set up at my desk.
Who would do that?
I know, right?
Who would do that?
And so the keyboard is, I was thinking of getting a wireless keyboard in general because I'm getting a little tired of the cable clutter. But this way I have a keyboard for the secondary PCs so that if I need to be, getting screenshots or whatever from them, I can do that. I'm still using the ergonomic keyboard for what I'm actually, using to write my articles and converse with people and whatnot.
I'm sorry, I just noticed, Willis, you put the poll, do you prefer a 10 key keyboard? 10 keys on the keyboard?
How do you use it? It's just 10 key. Right?
Well, there's 10 keyless,
which
doesn't have the keypad. This is a 10 keyless, but yeah, it's fine. People understand what you mean. But yeah, somebody left a comment saying, Christian said, no, I do prefer more than 10 keys on a keyboard.
He's 17
Me
keys.
too. There we go.
Hey.
Wait, it's blurred out.
Influencer. Come on.
It doesn't see a face.
No.
So.
Right, fine. One second.
We
Let me
believe you.
unblur this.
Wait, and why did you get the Famicom coloring?
Because it's red. Look at this.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah,
And
you're a red and gold kind of.
I love red, but also I am totally a former otaku at heart. So even though I'm a total poser because I never had a Famicom, I decided to go for this version instead.
No, I dig it. Well, yeah, mixing and matching all over the place. Yeah, so I'm curious to see because this is my first diving into switches that are not cherries. And I know when I had interviewed what was his name at LTX? Hipbiotech.
Hipbiotech. There you go. Yeah.
He pretty much told me to my face that I was a loser for using cherry keys. Just kidding. He didn't. He was very nice.
He's a cool guy.
He was very nice. But yeah, so anyway, there's that. And then something else I know you're going to be excited about, Elena. I got in a horrible amount of fans. These are the Fantex D30 120s.
That's a lot of fans.
That's 3. So 12, if I did my math correctly. That is 12 RGB fans. I don't even know how much I paid. I don't want to know how much I paid. because I'll just get it reimbursed anyway. So, but I have a special build project I'm working on. I said I was going to do it this week. Last week I said I was going to do it this week. We're actually not doing it this week. This week we're streaming on Friday. That one's a special one as well, but it's not what this is intended for. So yeah, we saw these fans at CES, and Gordon was very excited about these fans. Elena, have you looked into these fans?
Are these the ones that you can reverse?
So here's the thing: they are reversible, but you can't reverse them. So you buy them in whatever, like you have to buy them. Like even on the box, it says regular or reversed. So you have to buy it the way you want to. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's less exciting because
Yeah.
I think Thermaltake had a set where you actually could change it
pull
yourself.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you could actually pull the blades out and then flip it, which I thought was just so smart.
Yeah. Well, Gordon, this is the first time I had ever seen
Are those
Gordon.
30s? Like,
So-
are those 30 millimeters? They look thicker.
Yeah, they are thicker than normal. So 30 millimeter 120s. I think that's why it's called D30 120. Let's see. Yes, 30 millimeter. 30 millimeter. And Gordon, he doesn't really get excited about fans. Well, he gets excited about all you fans, but not fans. Usually he's a utilitarian kind of guy. But yeah, he was excited because these just, you clip them together. They're actually not magnetic because aren't the Lanley ones like magnetic, right?
They're not magnetic.
No, they're not magnetic.
They lock.
Oh, they lock.
They have a
okay.
locking system.
Okay, yeah. So these ones have a locking system. Let me grab it here. It's a little like a crap. It's in a bag. I'm just gonna rip these open, spoil it. So yeah, it's like a little interconnect thing here with the pins that transfers the information, and then you kind of place it in place and snap in.
Yeah, so it's very similar to. Have you built with the Unifans yet?
I have not. Oh, I did it the wrong
Yeah,
way.
it's that sounds very similar. Although I gotta say, I don't think this is the first time that Fantex has created a product that was
There we
quite similar to something that Leon Lee was doing.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, I got these because we saw them at CS and I wanted to try them. So, I could have went with the Lian Li ones. I was like, yeah.
Modular is great. I think
Yeah.
I would like to see more of that and more variety. So there's this style, and then there's the Inwin style for I think they're Saturns, where you basically have like shorter cables between them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they're a bit more modular, and it makes it a lot cleaner. I actually like that system just because it's a little less fiddly than the interlocking, because I don't know if you still remember this, but do you remember how I made things fly accidentally during CES 2020 when they were first showing us the Unifans?
Oh, no, I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
I'm pretty sure PR hates me because I almost broke their prototype.
Nope.
Not on purpose. It's just, I am a dancer and not dancer, but I do dancing as a hobby in spite of myself, not because I naturally gravitate towards it. I'm not a very graceful person. I'm very clumsy, actually.
Well, that makes two of us. I do like, the reason why I got these is because the inner ring lights up. It's not the actual fan part that lights up RGB. There's an inner ring
that's
in
pretty.
here, but then also there's the little bars here. So you get to see some RGB on the side. You get to see some RGB in the rings. So the white fans reflect the RGB onto
That's
it.
pretty.
I don't know anything about performance or anything. The spoilers, this build is like a high end. It looks good build.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic build. I mean, it'll probably perform really well too. But yeah, we'll see. So anyway, I got a lot of them. I'm not going, depending on the case. So I kind of spoiled this to the people in Discord. We had so much fun during the Terra build where I had people choose the fate of whatever GPU.
Oh, you
was
choose your
put in there.
adventure build.
So yeah, in this build, they're going to be able to choose the case. I got two cases that are real good showpiece cases that I'm excited about, and then the CPU / motherboard combo. So
Nice.
yeah, well, I'll let people choose the fate on that depending on what it is. But yeah, this is you know, usually I'll be the first to admit I go into a live build with not always the most solid of plan. It's usually like, let's put some together. Okay, this works, and there's always problems. This one I'm trying to really research and make sure I have everything right before I go into it, because this one is going to be like really high end and pretty, and I don't want to mess it up too much. So this should be fun. Anyway, I feel like I'm just like surrounded by junk over here.
You know, honestly, I'm surprised because those are what, 5 millimeters thicker than a typical fan? Because I think a typical fan's 25 millimeters in thickness, but they look so much chunkier.
I mean, they really do, and like they're substantial in the hand. Like I know these two are together, but like I feel like I could hit somebody with it, and like.
So basically, when you're done with that build, you're going to be able to use it to lift.
Right? Yeah.
You're just going to like overhead presses. You're like, here we go.
Well, now I can't get it out. I don't know the trick of unconnecting it. Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to look at that later. But yeah, no, I mean these are. Well, I think they were pretty expensive too. I actually don't know.
Also, Willis, I'm pretty sure you're tracking chat, but we are getting some comments in the chat saying that the stream's stuttering a bit.
That was earlier. I checked in. They said it was good now. Okay. So hopefully.
I know. Because I just know that we've had gremlins in the system lately, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, but that so that one was I mean, that was self-inflicted because we tried to switch to AV1.
We tried to look pretty.
Yeah, and like actually somebody who noticed that the quality was better.
A few people.
Okay.
I think it was Retro Sean who noticed it first.
Okay, yeah. So like in AV1, definitely we were seeing a benefit in it, but we were having some sort of like problem with the actual encoding and having it hitch. I think it was because of the AV1, so we defaulted back to HEVC. Yeah. Hopefully that solves it. But we are at 1440p, which usually we do 1080p. Mm-hmm. So that could be the other thing that we changed and is not great, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And Skeets, you can't vote yet. The live build hasn't happened yet.
So check us out
there's
Friday.
There's nothing wrong with them expressing
No, not this Friday. That's not the choose your own adventure one. Yeah. This Friday, I'll just spoil it. So this Friday we're doing a live build. Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, I need to make. Oh crap! I need to get a thumbnail too for it. I'll just do that Thursday. Anyway, too many things going on. Yeah. Okay. I just keep thinking of things that I need to do.
Yeah. We'll make a checklist.
Yeah. Anyway, so Corsair has build kits where you go on and you're like, okay, how much money do I want to spend? And here's a kit that Corsair will sell you, but it's not pre-built because it's not already built. It's literally just a kit of all the parts. So the benefit of that is that you know that they all work together. That I mean, most of them are Corsair parts in there if you prefer Corsair kind of aesthetics and whatnot and performance. So you get it from them and then you build it your own. So the benefit of that is a couple. Like I feel like it's this nice middle ground, and NZXT has the build kit. You even did a video on that years ago. Or we did a live stream, right?
Years ago. Yeah. Was it years?
Wasn't it years ago?
Oh my gosh. I thought it was last year. Was it 2021? I have lost all track of time.
I don't remember.
I don't know. What is time?
I have lost all track of time.
It's a construct. But anyway, we have a Corsair build kit, and I actually have a friend of mine who has never built a PC. He's coming in to build his first PC, and because I really feel like when you get a kit like this, the instructions on how to build it is make or break, right? Because I feel like on one end you have people who do pre-built, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's a huge market, but you also don't get the benefit of building it yourself. But also, I can understand on the other end of like, okay, well, you got to research the parts, you got to find them, you got to source them, and you got to build it. But there's no like necessarily like a handy manual for you, so you watch PC World videos to figure out how to do it. But this is kind of like somewhere in between. So you're buying a kit. I think there's like 6 different options that they offer. I think maybe there's more than that. But then, you get all the parts. You get to build it yourself, and it comes with instructions. And I really feel like the instruction manual is like key to it. So I'm going to have my friend build it, and I'll be there for support if we need to. But I'm curious to see a noob build it. So he's a noob to PC building. He has built his own keyboard though, so he's actually ahead of me in that.
I would be interested to see the differences between those manuals, because when we went through the NZXT one, I don't know if you remember, I really liked how they set it up. I think they geared theirs a little bit more towards, I think, kids. Like you could tell from how they themed it, it was a little bit meant to be more of a thing you do with someone who's younger. Still very cute though. But I'm I don't know if that really fits Corsair's vibe, so I'm kind of curious how they're going to do their instructions.
I have peeked a little bit at the instructions, and I think I don't know what comes physically in the box. Actually, I don't even know where the box is. I need to figure that out. But they do have the instructions online, so I have looked online, and they were pretty straightforward. I don't remember anything like kiddie about them or anything.
Yeah. If they're online, I could probably look at it myself, because I'm just curious how they approached it.
Yeah. So anyway, the Corsair did send us the kits, or they actually sent 2 of them, but we're only gonna be making one of them. But I mean, this isn't sponsored. This really is just to kind of like have somebody come in who's never built and like observe and kind of see what it's like. And I know like everybody who kind of builds or like is early to building kind of stumbles on specific things. Like I know when we did your build recently, and even Luis, we did a build for him recently too, and like the part where I feel like new people get hung up on is pushing the RAM down. It's so scary, you know.
Yeah,
you gotta put a little force into it.
It just seems so fragile. So I'm just like very gently, just like clapping it, but then you're like, no, full force. It's just clamping.
Like it's not in there. You gotta keep pushing, man. So
for me, oh sorry, go ahead. I would just say for me, it's a CPU cooler sometimes, depending on what generation we're talking about. Like the earlier Intel stock coolers, I loathe them. Like I hate them so much because I don't know if you ever built with them, but you basically
there's one you like
pin
kind
system.
Yeah,
you have to press down and like click
turn.
to lock.
Yeah.
I freaking hated that. It's the freaking worst.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh God, am I putting too much pressure on this motherboard? Am I going to crack the motherboard while I'm doing this?
So I think for the first time built with 2 different Peerless Assassins. There's a video I've been working on that hopefully you'll see in a couple weeks. But it was 2 separate builds. I just built them this morning, and both of them had a Peerless Assassin. One of them was the 120, so the single tower, and then the other one. The other one was the dual tower. I can't remember off the top of my head what the dual tower one is called. But have you worked with a Thermalright tower?
Not the Peerless Assassin, but I've used one of their low profile coolers.
It was actually pretty nice. I was instructions were simple enough, but the actual build quality of the towers for how cheap they were. Because these are actually like, fairly cheaper towers. Like I was like, dang, wow, this is actually pretty good quality. I mean, we'll see performance, but I feel like I've seen a lot of people do testing, and these are some of the best bang for your buck air towers that you can get out there. And yes, Anders, slam down that memory. You just slam it down. Actually, have you built in one of the new Intel stock coolers? I think it's the same system to latch, but like it's the new like.
No, it's a different system now.
Oh, it is.
It's different. It's much more straightforward. I did that for a 12500 build recently, and I went into it with a little trepidation because I was like, oh man, because I'm remembering back to like Sandy Bridge era. I think even Haswell, and I think Haswell I finally got a third party cooler, aftermarket cooler rather. But so I was like, okay, here we go. I'm like, I'm too cheap. I don't have anything on hand right now that's like low profile enough for this case that I'm working in. And I'm too cheap to run out and buy one off the shelf without waiting for a sale. And so I like open up the box and I'm like, oh, wait, this is so much better. I don't have to be afraid anymore.
I'm not afraid anymore. Actually, we watched that recently. Sorry, I'm just checking to see whether our guest is home or not.
That sucks. Traffic's always a bummer.
Yeah, so it was a 40-minute commute that turned into 2 hours. So yeah, running a little bit late, but we're just sitting here chatting. Somebody in the chat was like, I told them we were going to be late, and they were like, well, why don't we do Q&A? So actually, you know what? I have a question.
Do Q&A. We could start doing another tier list again. We've had requests to do another candy tier list or something equivalent to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a perfect way to kill the time.
A lot of these questions I actually want to save for the actual show, so I'm not gonna bring those up. But if you have any questions, Elena, how was your day?
It's been a day.
It's been a day.
It's been a day.
Okay. Our day was busy.
Very busy.
Our traffic actually was a little bit bad coming in too, and then it's warm. Okay. It's warmer than I expected here in the city.
Yeah, it creeped
in the
up.
Humidity.
Yeah.
But I built 2 PCs this morning. So
hey, there you go. You did it way faster than I. Obviously, way faster than I did. You're a pro at this. I'm just like slowly, gently, just pushing the pins down and just making sure nothing breaks. It's just anytime I hear anything snap, it just scares me. I was like, oh my goodness, did I break anything? You're like, no, it's okay. Just move on. Let's go.
No, well, to be fair, to be fair to you, we did not check to see if my build's posted. So,
okay. Yeah.
So we actually, yes,
does
I threw
count?
them in. Does it count? It counts. Oh, look, it looks like Carrie's here. I mostly took the parts and just threw them in the case and just shook it up a little bit and then put the side panel on. So I don't know if it actually works or not, but we'll see.
Shaking is important.
There's time.
It's not going to be mixed properly.
Skeet Sayer asks, you live by the ocean. How do you have humidity?
Is that a trick question?
I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist, so I actually don't know.
That's got to be a trick question. That's.
Yeah, because I thought you get more humidity living by the ocean. Carrie, welcome. Hello. Do you live by the ocean?
Hey, testing. Can you hear me just fine?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Hello.
How about that? I do kind of live near the ocean.
Is there humidity by you?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's the worst.
It is.
Can confirm. Carrie can confirm. Salt particles in the air. That's true.
That's true.
Carrie, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. It sounds like you had a trip.
Yeah, there's a 40-minute commute that just doubled in time for no reason.
Well, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Are you sure you're all ready to go? You got some?
Oh yeah.
You got some water. You're all rested up and
ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll. Okay. Well, we were just sitting here BSing with the live folks, so we're glad to join. But I guess Elena, did you want to stick around or did you want to pop off?
I'm going to pop off because I have to get a few articles done. Sorry, I'd love to hang out, but also I don't really have that much to say about handhelds, so I may as well just be productive otherwise.
No worries. Well, thank you.
The only talking point I have is still bitter about having to be chained to a wall with that Game Gear, but that's about it.
The Game Gear did you wrong. I get it. I get it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Elena.
Thanks, Elena.
Carrie, thank you again for coming. We'll start the show in a minute. But why don't you tell us, are you a breakfast kind of guy, Carrie?
I'm not a breakfast guy. I just have coffee and that's it.
Just like black coffee? Do you put cream, sugar?
Sometimes it depends. I typically want to have like cream and I use Splenda or some type of artificial sugar. But I have been just going I'll make what do they call cold brew? I'll just have it a long steeped thing overnight. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I want to get into actual cold brew. I drink up plenty of cold coffee where you make the coffee you have left over, you just put it in the fridge. So I know it's not cold brew. So I want to get into actual cold brewing. But anyway, I want to be conscious of the time, so we might as well get going. How's his levels, Willis?
Sounds good.
Check. So you need to adjust anything?
That sounds good.
Check.
Sounds good to me.
Check.
All right. This will be fun. So just so you know, because I think I probably failed to tell you ahead of time, we're going to talk about just a roundup of the fall handhelds to kind of kick it off. And then the second topic is about the Steam Deck 2, kind of the little bit of news nugget that we got recently, but then also just talk about like our wish list and where we think it could go from there. And then the third one is talking about Intel and what what it would take for them to get in the game, and maybe Meteor Lake is the way to do it. So cool. Are you ready to go?
Ready to rock.
Okay, nice.
Ready to rock and roll, huh? All right.
All right, you ready on your end?
Let's do this.
In this episode of The Full Nerd, we talk all about handheld PCs. Welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 273 by my count. I am your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Murray, and I am here to talk about handheld PCs. And when I thought of, I want to talk with somebody about handheld PCs, I wanted to get my good buddy Carrie, aka The Fox, on, because you know way more than I've ever known about handhelds. Thank you for joining us, Carrie.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've been talking offline since LTX, but LTX was a great time. Thank you for coming on, and thank you, Willis, for controlling the verticals and horizontals.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
And Willis is a recent convert to handheld gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, handheld gaming PCs.
Don't. Yeah.
Yes.
I had Game Boys before. I have a Switch, but recently I've been playing with the ROG Ally. So that's fun.
That's true. We are a little short on time here today, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Speaking of the ROG Ally, Carrie, have you had a chance to play with the the newer version that came out with the X1 Z1? Yeah, I'm sorry, the Z1 non Extreme. So
I apparently picked the worst time to go to Italy because I was like, September, nothing should be coming out. And it turns out everything did. The Asus reached out to me. They said, hey, do you want it? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to go. And they said, all right, we'll figure something out later. So right now that's in limbo. So last I heard is that they're trying to scrounge up a review sample somewhere. As of this moment, I don't have it.
Okay. Have you kept up on the testing that other fine folks like Retro Game Core or Taki Udon has done?
Yeah, so I'm aware of it. Also because of the 7640U in comparison to the 7840U, and it tracks pretty much similarly. So I was already under the assumption of how it would track. Mm-hmm. There are some things that I do want to take a look at specifically with just seeing how we can try to manage anything. But my expectation is that the results are as they've been reported.
What kind of testing do you want to get into? Is it stuff that you haven't seen yet, or?
So the thing that I want to take a look at, because on Zen 4, AMD already assigns P cores, like their star P cores. Mm-hmm. They're all technically P cores, right? Mm-hmm. So every core that they have but they're actually ranked. And tools like Hardware Info can reveal that info. So depending on the ranking of how they are distributed, I wanted to basically see if we can do some things that were available on the 6800U, where on the 7000 series, they will kind of auto target those P cores, those star cores automatically. Mm. And I am not certain if that's the case on the Z1. And so far as trying to park the cores that are not the star cores and only the star cores, and then see if CPU wise we can just power adjust things to get better performance within a given TDP ceiling.
Because essentially you're saying the limit you can afford to lose some CPU ability to try to push a little more TDP towards the GPU. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
not a whole bunch of games actually are multi-threaded in any given respect. Very few games are. Like Doom Eternal does it well. Cyberpunk latest version does it extremely well. So most games that you're going to play, I'd say the majority of PC games are going to be dual core most, in all respects. Some of the newer ones are going to be quad core, but even outside of that, going more than quad core really doesn't help unless it's very, very specific modern games.
Okay. All right. Well, I will look forward to that testing, and hopefully you should too. Go over to subscribe at The Fox, PHAWX. And then, another one I want to talk to you about is the Lenovo Legion Go. So I actually got my hands on it. I did a video on it. Have you had a chance to mess with it yet?
No, I have not. I'm just looking to pre-order it to be able to get my hands on it.
So the biggest question I have for you is the whole FPS, what they're dubbing the FPS mode, which, if you don't know, the Lenovo Legion Go has detachable Joy-Cons, or kind of like the Switch. I'm just going to call them Joy-Cons. Detachable controllers from the side, kind of like Nintendo Switch. But the right Joy-Con, you flip a little switch and it turns on the IR, and you put it in this little weighted thing, and it kind of becomes almost like a pseudo mouse. You know what it reminds me of? It actually reminds me of a vertical mouse. Have you seen those vertical mice? So
Yep.
it's kind of like that. And so the idea is, you do your more normal character movement with the left stick, or the left hand. And then with this mouse mode, it's kind of a little more granular mouse movement for first person shooters. Me personally, I can't see any. I'm not excited for it. I can't see a use case in the way that I use handhelds to use this mode. And for me personally, I'm okay just using a thumbstick for first person shooters. I'm sorry, put me on the stake. But Carrie, I'm very curious. Like, what do you think about that mode? Are you excited for it? Would you actually use it?
I wouldn't use it. I'm much like how you think. Like I align with your thought process in where I'm using a handheld. I'm typically not by a table. So I'm usually in a couch. I'm never having something that has a flat surface in front of me for which I can put this vertical mouse onto. Having said that, a vertical mouse probably is very ergonomic. I know that there's a lot of ergonomic mice that are vertically shaped. So I like it insofar as it becoming an additional accessory that's already attached. I love that thought process. So anything that they can add as an add-on that does not act as an additional accessory, I'm a big fan of. Anything that is an accessory that I have to put in my bag is just more baggage, and I'm never going to carry it with me. Whereas this is required to actually use it as a handheld. So overall, I'm a big fan of their thought process.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I was thinking too, I was like, okay, well, I mean, there's two different ways, right? You're either gonna put it on a table and use the screen built in and just kind of game like that, which I don't really game like that. Sounds like you don't either. The other one is, okay, well, what if you dock it to a bigger screen, and then you have the ability to do that? But I think if you're docking it at that point, you probably could hook up a mouse and keyboard anyway. So yeah, I just, the use case, me personally, I wasn't too excited about it. But what about just the detachable Joy-Cons themselves, apart from the FPS mode? Is that a benefit to your use case to actually just have them detachable in the first place?
I mean, the only place that I think that I might actually use that is like on a treadmill. On a treadmill, it might make sense where I can just kind of like park the screen on the dash, and then I'm walking with the Joy-Cons in my hand. Because that's
you fit Man U.
Well, attempting to be. But yeah, those are like some things that I've always thought in my head. I've used a Switch like that one time, but I would rather use a PC gaming handheld in that manner. I think that it's with the amount of PC gaming handhelds that exist right now, I'm all for as many options as that could possibly exist. The switch from being a wired to a Bluetooth, I am curious on how fast that part actually is, because it really needs to be very Switch-like to actually be something people are going to use. But yeah, that's I think it's overall great to have it in the PC gaming handheld landscape.
Which, I mean, when I saw it, oh God, it was 2 months ago now or something like that? I can't remember. It was a while ago because it was a pre-brief for IFA. It was very early hardware. The software was very early. The whatever they're calling Legion Space, which is going to be the actual overlay software and things like that. They couldn't even show us, or they didn't have it. It wasn't even on. But even then, the detaching it and using it was super quick. So.
Yeah, that's positive then.
Very
positive.
Yeah, almost to the point that it made me think that it was connected over Bluetooth just to begin with.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I actually can't remember if that was the case. I feel like they said once you actually seed it, it will switch over information. So
curious.
Yeah. Once again, it was not a use case that I was necessarily that excited about, so I didn't really dive too deep in it. My worry is that it was going to be a depreciated experience for just handheld use. So say you were never going to detach them, I would not want that to be a spot where maybe it becomes loose, or becomes because it is heavy. 1.8 pounds is pretty heavy. It's going to help for your workout routine, Carrie. So like for my Switch, and my Switch is pretty light, but even my Switch, I feel like the Joy-Cons after having them for a while has started to like feel a little wobbly. So that's the only thing that kind of worries me a little bit. But hey, I actually don't even know if they have a release date yet. Did they say they had a release date? I can't remember.
I only heard like sometime in October is when the pre-order thing was.
Okay. So we'll see. Anything. Yeah, I definitely want to try to get one in to check it out. Speaking of another one that I would love to try, but I'm also not super excited for it. You did a video recently about the GDP Win Mini. And you did a video saying it was like the best handheld that you wouldn't recommend to anybody. Is that the title? Something like that?
That's correct.
Your thumbnail was just a very dramatic, handed palm kind of thing. So maybe explain to people why, because you were excited when you brought it by LTX. You showed it off the stream there. Why is this something that you love so much, but you wouldn't recommend it?
So I mean, ultimately speaking, that this is actually a thing that a lot of people, including myself, are looking forward to. They want a PC gaming handle that actually is small enough. There are a subset of people that only consider a handheld super small. So for those types of people, the Steam Deck doesn't enter into it. Lenovo Legion Go, the Ally, those are not handhelds to these people. For those people, the Switch actually isn't a handheld for them. So they're still like in this mindset that it has to be a small. Everything about the device is absolutely fantastic. The keyboard, the analog sticks, the D-pad, the screen, which I was actually worried about, is actually really good. The problem is that the middle shell is actually made out of metal, and all of that heat is eventually just the heat is broadcasting out from the chip, obviously, and it's just radiating into that metal shell, and it's just absorbing that and eventually just getting up to a temperature that is exceedingly uncomfortable to actually use.
Oh wow, yeah. What is the cooling solution inside? Heat pipes, I imagine, to a fan.
So there's a heatsink with 2 heat pipes that internally the temps are fine. When you even go up to 25 watt on this device, it's going to go around like 85 degrees Celsius, which is pretty high, but not for a chip. A chip is fine running at 85 degrees Celsius. So what it's actually doing internally is fine. It's just the radiated heat that is going into the case that is affecting things. So GPD has remade the middle shell case. They are now inserting glass fiber into the plastic as well to also resist heat. And this is something that someone did a long time ago with the GPD Win 2. They actually made a shell replacement that was made out of black nylon, and it was outrageously resistant to heat. So This is the direction that they're going into. They're already saying that there are positive results. I should have that by the early October, so I'll be able to report on that, and I'll be able to do an A/B comparison with my thermal capture and see what the result is.
Okay, well, that's promising. It's good to know that they followed up since that video. So one of the questions I have is that me personally, once again, speaking of use cases, I'm not really that excited for that form factor of like a keyboard, and I mean, I like the clamshell idea, right? But like the idea of a full keyboard, or what was it? Is it Aya Neo who just announced the slide that has the
slide?
Yeah. But like, I don't see myself needing a full keyboard. Are you somebody who likes having that full keyboard option?
Oh, dude, yeah, we should talk about this.
Really?
This is like so in 2015, when GPD was first making the GPD Win 1, there were the keyboard wars. This is an old forum that no longer exists. This is called Dingunity. So this is like a underground. We're talking about like retro handhelds before they even got big. So this is running on the Dingu. But yeah, so I was team keyboard all the way, and I still very much like to have a keyboard. But this is Windows is not a very good PC gaming handheld operating system. Having a keyboard makes it so that you can just use it as Windows PC. And that is what drives my desire for it. So something like the Steam Deck that doesn't have a keyboard, they have SteamOS with GameScope and everything else that they've done that you don't need a keyboard. Everything works just fine without one.
And the overlay is actually pretty stable and reliable. I feel like the ROG Ally keyboard overlay isn't always the most reliable. So
yeah. So the amount of work that Valve has done to make a keyboardless PC gaming handheld, is paying dividends. They've done a fantastic job, and I actually love using SteamOS on the Steam Deck. But when I'm using Windows, I really prefer having a keyboard. There's just a lot of small things.
Okay.
Alt Tab, Alt F4. There's just lots of little things that come up, especially if a game you're playing, it's like enter your character's name, and it's like the virtual keyboard's not coming up, and you just want to just put in something. Having a physical keyboard present on PC gaming makes things much, much better.
Okay, well, sounds like I just need to try it and see for myself, and yeah, maybe I'll be a convert. Do you feel like that is the one to try out? Or
if GPT solves the heat problem, this is going to be the one. Like in terms of it, the 7-inch screen, the size of it, the weight of it, the battery capacity, like everything. It's less weight than a Steam Deck, has 10% more battery capacity than a Steam Deck, has the same size screen as a Steam Deck, even though it's 16:9 and Steam Deck 16:10, but a lot of games are in 16:9. So you still have the same screen size, but way smaller. I can pocket it. I put it in my back pocket. So yeah, it's fantastic. Also, the keyboard is really, really nice to use. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. If they can fix this, fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm gonna be hyped.
Okay. So, and the last company I want to talk about, unless you have any new fall releases that you want to talk about, is the Ionia Kun. So yeah. you just got it in. I did. I had ordered one. So hopefully I'll have one sometime soon. But cool. This one, oh man, look at that. Yeah. Oh, it looks good. So tell people what the claim to fame on the Kun is.
So there's a few things that are going on here for what Ionia is doing. First, what I actually care about is they went full all out. So even on their Ionia slide, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this to you guys.
Yeah, we can see a little bit.
Yeah, my focus on the camera is not going to do it. Right now it's set to 54 watt TDP. So this guy goes nuts. So I'm going to be doing some more testing on that to see how far I can drive this and how well it can run. But then it's also that large screen that they have. Unfortunately, it is still a portrait-based screen, and I was hoping that with that larger screen, it would have been native landscape. It unfortunately isn't. So that only matters insofar as Windows and if you wanted to play older PC games without needing a wrapper. So if you're playing modern games, no big deal. But it also has 2 touchpads, which...
I mean, some people swear by them. Like, I don't necessarily miss them on the Ally, but like some people are like, I can't imagine anything other than a Steam Deck because of those pads.
The Steam Deck's trackpads are way better than what are on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it the tactile nature? Is it responsiveness? Like what's? Yeah,
it's just I'm using it a little bit more, but the right trackpad basically operates as a circular touchpad on a laptop. So it has right click and left click on the bottom and left quadrants of that circle.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Huh.
Yeah. And there's like this weird generalized tactile haptic feedback. So when you're putting your thumb on it, it's like just vibrating at an interval. So it exists and it works. I like it because there isn't always present mouse on there. So I'm happy for that. I think that the implementation could be a little bit better. Having said that, I do need to jump into iSpace a little bit more and see how far I can tune it, because right now it is at default settings. And then the left stick doesn't do anything in terms of mousing. So I have to see on iSpace what that I can configure that to, insofar as if I want it to be an analog stick or a D-pad or what have you. The left trackpad does not operate as a mouse pad, but when I put my finger on it, it gives me a sensation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even if say you find out that these trackpads just aren't up to snuff to be able to actually play a game with, if it's just there for a default mouse movement if you need to, or you can configure maybe some sort of hotkey or something like that, do you feel like that's still even a bonus to have?
A big bonus, yeah. And I would wager that the iSpace that they're working on, because they even updated it now, so you can actually change the VRAM settings like you can do on the Ally via software.
Oh, nice.
So that's now in the iSpace app. So I would wager that they are going to fine tune that considerably as time goes on. iSpace has been updated twice on this device since I've had it. So they're constantly pushing updates to their own application. So I would say that however my feelings are right now, that they'll be tuning that over time.
So yeah, the big thing is that 7840U being pushed up to 50 watts.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're actually even going to be able to get anything out of pushing that hard?
No, in gaming scenarios, the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to matter at all.
Okay.
And the reality of the situation is that the GPU and memory side is really what's going to be bottlenecking us. Is that we can use up all of that power. On the CPUs alone, the 8 cores, we can go up to 50 watt easy. On the GPU, we can go up to 30 watt easy. What these numbers mean is that technically on 7840U, if we had our druthers, we could push it up to 85, 90 watts. It could consume that much easy. Mm-hmm. So even at 54 watt, we're not even going full metal on this guy, right? Mm-hmm. The reality is that even when we're pushing all this power into it, we're going to exhaust the bandwidth out of it, and we're going to have congestion. So when you look at it, so going from 15 watt to 18 watt is about a 10% increase. Going from 18 watt to 28 watt is another 10% increase. Okay. And then going from 28 watt to 50 watt is going to be another 10% increase. So pushing all this power into it, you're not going to get the return back. There's massive diminishing returns there, and you're going to drastically reduce your battery life. So this is going to be something that you're going to be using while plugged in only, and it's not even going to be all that awesome. So in terms of the returns, like how much power you're putting into it, from a CPU point of view, yeah, you're going to see those gains.
So especially CPU limited games.
Yes. Anything that was CPU bound, for sure, you're going to see a big increase in there. But then there's also just productivity stuff. They sent me the 64 gig RAM model. So ostensibly this is a workstation handheld.
Right. Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, okay. That's the other thing. We talked about this a little bit at LTX, but like Ioneo is kind of coming out hot and heavy with all these releases. They just talked about the Slide. The Kun isn't even out yet. Like, do you think they're going to continue to try to push it even further? Like, can you imagine in a couple months time they're like, hey, this is the Kun Pro Plus that pushes up to 85 watts?
I would personally tell them to cool their jets a bit, because the feedback that I get alone is that people are fed up with how many releases that Ioneo is coming out with. There is a small part here that I want to kind of give Ioneo the benefit of the doubt here, is that the only reason that we saw a tremendous explosion of SKUs is from another company that kind of tried just announcing something and price cutting them a day before their announcement. And then they fought back, which they should have never done. And then they came out with a bunch of models that no one really even uses to this day. So that has accelerated that feeling. But yeah, I would personally say no, like chill out for a moment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there any other fall handhelds that you want to talk about? Anything that's coming that you're excited for?
The big one that I want to just talk about is the Lenovo Legion Go. I just want to see how Lenovo does it and their implementation compared to the Ally. And I'm just curious about how it's actually going to work in practice. Regardless of anything, the Asus and Lenovo are going to be taking the lion's share of whatever the sales are going to be, just because of how easy it is to buy these and customer support reasons. So I'm very curious on how the market is also going to respond to it.
Yeah, in my time talking with Lenovo, they seem to be understanding that one of the benefits that Lenovo has, which Lenovo is a huge company. A lot of people don't realize, like, Lenovo sells a lot of computers, like worldwide. And I think they're one of the top 3, if not top 2. I can't remember in actual units sold. Like, Lenovo is a huge company, so they can leverage that. They can get into brick and mortar. I mean, obviously the Ally is in Best Buy, but maybe Lenovo is able to pull even more levers. Like, imagine one in Walmart or something, or imagine if you can get it on Amazon. More online options. Like, I feel like Lenovo is probably the best poised to do that because of just their sheer power, and I mean the fact that they're coming in at that same price point of $799 or I'm sorry $699.
Yeah,
which that could be a big deal for sure. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. I think we're both excited to check it out. You know what else we're excited to check out? Hopefully one day a Steam Deck 2. But it sounds like, at least according to The Verge, they have an article that they posted. What is this? This is September 21st, so almost a week ago. Valve quoted a Pierre-Loup Graphius. Oh man, I'm horrible with names. Said that don't expect a faster Steam Deck in the next couple of years. So it sounds like maybe 2025, maybe 2026. For me, I was like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. Like they don't need to rush out, right? I mean, they're probably selling plenty of these Steam Decks as of right now. But the question I have is that like people always complain about how the Switch is just so long in the tooth. But that's people complain, but they're still selling a ton of them. Like, where do you think that balance is where you don't want to come out too fast, like we were just talking about with Aya Neo, but you also don't want to like wait years and years so that it's just getting real long in the tooth. Like, do you feel like 25, 26 is the right time frame for them to be introducing a Steam Deck too?
So, all right, I'm going to answer this in two different parts.
Okay.
Number one, yes, I do agree with you that 2025 is like a better time to release an update to a Steam Deck 2. That's how I feel in my gut. However, knowing even a year ago that there wasn't going to be anything on the foreseeable future, that there's nothing here that is considerably better than the Steam Deck, especially at lower TDPs, where this actually makes any sense to endeavor in going into a newer bit of hardware. The reason being is that the best hardware that we can get on a mobile GPU is from AMD right now in terms of a whole holistic solution in terms of having that APU, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anything now. They don't have anything in the foreseeable future that they're Strix Point, but Strix Point is going to go double wide on memory. So instead of 120-bit wide, they're going 256-bit wide. And N3, TSMC's N3 doesn't look all that hot right now in terms of efficiencies. So what we're looking at is something to actually be able to get better performance, like saying going to 54 watt on the Aya Neo Kun doesn't matter as much on Strix Point on later stuff from AMD coming out next year. So the 8850U series, that would benefit from pushing to 40 watt and 45 watt. However, from Valve's point of view, they don't want to go up to that wattage. So they want to stay in something that is at 15 watts. So even when we look at 2024, there's nothing available. 2025, maybe, but 2026 is probably a better area. Like 2025, 2026 is finally going to be an area where hardware is going to be at a point where something that we're running at 15 watt can be appreciably better than the Steam Deck now at 15 watt. If it's just going to be 10 or 20% better, no one's going to care. It needs to be generational, at least 70 to 80% better inside of that same TDP scope.
Unless, and here's my counter, is that unless it's less about the performance uplift and more about the experience, right? Like I like the Steam Deck is awesome, but there's definitely things about it that you could see a revision. Like the screen is kind of the number one for me.
100%, yeah.
Right? You know, so like I guess reading that, I was also like, okay, well, I mean, there's a context of what was in that article, but also like I'm like, okay, does that leave any wiggle room for them to have a Steam Deck Pro or a Steam Deck 1.5 or something like that to address certain things? Because like performance, I agree with you. But there's certain just quality of life things. Maybe they wanted to change a little bit about the ergonomics or the cooling system, or the fan situation. Crap, that whole fan thing, it's still loud as hell. So like I feel like they could make a revision even if the performance wasn't necessarily appreciable difference than what 100% it is.
100% agree. Yeah. I think everyone would love like an OLED Steam Deck. And going across the board, right? Like if they could go to 32 gigs of RAM and still have the same thing, right? Going to 32 gigs of RAM or even 24 gigs of RAM would put them in a situation where they weren't so bound with pushing this upper limit and pushing everything to swap or trying to manage swap as much as they are, which is why you see the Cairo utilities being such a big thing for a lot of people, is because they're basically increasing swap, increasing huge pages because they're running out of system RAM. So even just doing something with giving a little bit more system RAM, having the same Van Gogh chipset, OLED, a better fan, all of that type of stuff, I totally think would be worthwhile. The only thing that I don't think that they would go with down the OLED route or a different display route is SteamOS 3.5 just implemented their new GameScope implementation where they are now interfacing with EDID information from any display that's connected to the machine. So they are getting the. We actually talked about this, I believe, when we were in LTX. They are actually getting the chroma data from the display itself and actually managing the color space via 3D LUT in real time, and that's already there. They're also doing stuff which I was thinking was going to be a possibility, but it does look like it's a fact now because actually in their repo is that they're doing reshade like type of stuff. So you can do like a CRT filter, a Game Boy filter, or whatever else you want. So that's coming down the pipe. Yeah. So there's things that they're doing that are modifying how the display is in terms of even just scaling things to fit better on a 16:10 panel if it doesn't support 16:10 natively. So they're, for me, a lot of the things, especially with how Valve is addressing certain situations, their response to Cairo utilities was like, no, that type of stuff is fixing a bug and we need to address that. So I don't even think that they would go to more RAM initially as like in a revision model. So there's all these things that I think that, yes, I would agree with you, but from the responses that I've seen from Valve, I don't think that they would entertain it.
Interesting. What about other model options? Do you think that they would ever introduce, oh, hey, you know what, we still have the same 3 models that we offer now, but maybe there's one even a more higher end, like, you know, or do you think that's gonna make the SKUs a little too thinned out?
Again, this is something that I think that everyone would like, except I think that this is only my gut feeling. I have it's total speculation on my part, right? Mm-hmm. I think that the Steam Deck is like Gabe approved, right? So it's like it has to have
a little stamp Gabe approved. Each one that come through, he just stamps them.
Dude, like, I don't know, like 10 years, 15 years ago, he was playing World of Warcraft on a 42-inch plasma. Like, you know, no one was doing this, but he's sitting 2 feet away from this 42-inch plasma. So I think that he just likes larger things, and the ergonomics matter to him. Everything around it matters to him. So I like saying something like, oh, they'll make a smaller Steam Deck. I don't think that they would, because of moving the trackpads, moving everything else. Where are you going to start fitting all that stuff? Yeah. And I don't think that they're going to abandon them. So no, I think the only thing is that we could realistically have a larger screen because those bezels are huge on the Steam Deck. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's my speculation. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that there's a gut feeling in my stomach that there's an approval process on there, and they're like, this is the correct size, and that's Gabe approved.
Gabe approved. I like it. So okay, give it to me right now, Carrie. What is your wish list on the Steam Deck 2? If you were the one putting the approval stamps on, and you had the choice, what is coming down?
Okay, so keeping the same form factor that it is, I think that I'm fine with it, even though a lot of people think it's too large. It is actually very comfortable to use. Mm-hmm. I would wish that they min-max the size so that there is a bezel-less screen that occupies that entire cavity for that screen. Mm-hmm. I wish that they go OLED. I wish that they push the envelope in every way that they possibly can, insofar as not even just like frequency and stuff that is very game-oriented, things that are very handheld-oriented. So things that are...
more RGB. You're just saying more RGB, right?
Very cost conscious on power spend, and that's across the board. So if we're even just talking about everything that is going to consume power in any part of the stack needs to be min-maxed as much as possible, so that when we're running the Steam Deck at 15 watt right now, that we're not using 27 watt total. We're going to be using something like 20 watt total. If they can minimize that, you're going to have a better handheld experience, because being on battery, you'll be able to play longer. So that is something that I think if they can min-max that, that's going to give them an advantage over all these other PC gaming handhelds that exist.
What do you think about the cooling solution? Like, I feel like I recently repasted my deck. I have changed out the fan. Like, I feel like it could be beefed up more. Like, what do you think? No.
I'm in agreement. I think for them, they're looking at it through a target specification of what they're trying to hit, or what like an allowance of heat that they're allowed to hit. Mm-hmm. It can definitely be improved because we see other makers doing way better than they are. I don't think that they care to go that route. the other part that I didn't consider as much, and I only found this out recently, the RFI shield that is over the heatsink component of the Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
If you remove that and put the back plate back on,
Mm-hmm.
the back plastic actually gets blazingly hot comparatively. So that RFI shield is actually absorbing heat and preventing heat, heat radiating to the outside plastic. So they're doing a lot there that from a user's perspective is already good enough. And I think that is their qualifying metric, is good enough, rather than can be absolutely best.
Well, we like good enough here.
Good enough.
Speaking of which, I actually did change out the back plate to one of those JSOCs, the see-through ones, kind of the old school. Gordon calls them Game Boy see-through plastics, and it has a little pad that touches that shield, and I was surprised by how much heat it was pushing off into the back of it. I was like, oh, actually, I don't know if I like that. So
yes,
it is surprising.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that you would think just a small change like that wouldn't matter as much, but it actually does.
What about connectivity? Somebody in the chat saying, being able to put an eGPU on it, or maybe an Oculink.
Yeah, so I'm a big Oculink fan. Oculink is something that is super underground right now. Like that's like hardcore users only.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually talking to you right now through my WinMax 2 that's Oculink to a 4090. Like that's my setup. So
Fancy.
That is something that I'm hardcore about. So if you're going to ask me about connectivity in that regard, yeah, Oculink is amazing, especially the newer iterations, which are actually using a newer port when we go into like PCIe Gen 5.
Wow.
So there's a newer port for that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it because even on my solution right now, going to 4090, I'm having a great time. So yes, please.
What about Linux support? Is Linux and Oculink work really well?
Yeah. So as far as Linux is concerned, Oculink is expressing itself as PCIe lanes.
Oh, okay.
As far as Linux is concerned, it's just a GPU that's connected to the system via PCIe.
Oh, damn.
So it just sees it. So there's like no compatibility thing whatsoever. The only thing that you have to make sure of is that there are Oculink where you can actually wake up via 3V rail.
Mm-hmm.
So you can power on the GPU when you power on the host system.
Oh.
Some Oculink connections don't support this. Like GPD stuff doesn't support this. So you have to actually turn the GPU on first before you power on the machine. So make sure that is that condition is satisfied before going forward. But after that, yeah, there's no problems.
Okay. Speaking of no problems, Intel feels like they have a problem. Maybe that they don't get to play in this space. We were talking, like, hey, this is pretty much AMD led, but I don't know if you've been following the news. We last week went down to Intel Innovation where they took a lot of the wraps off of Meteor Lake, now called Intel Core Ultra processors. And one of the things that seemed pretty apparent to me is that there are a lot of benefits of the Meteor Lake architecture that would help handheld gaming, and there has been options in the past. I'm trying to think of exact companies, but there've been some companies that are like, hey, do you want an AMD chip or do you want an Intel chip? Have you ever looked at any of those Intel based ones?
So Intel had an AMD DGPU that was like on the same die core.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they had their own
Kaby Lake G.
Yeah, they had their own forked driver set for that as well. So yeah, there's always those interesting looking things that I was always interested in. Even Crystalwell, when it was just Intel Iris, right, where you had that large EDRAM that they had on there, which benefited the CPU as well. So there's lots of things that Intel has played around with, even outside of DGPUs, just additional cache, much like Infinity Cache is for AMD. So Crystalwell existed on Intel long ago. Yeah, I'm if they can manage that, I think that would be fantastic. Like if we could figure out a way where NVIDIA wasn't mad at Intel anymore, and they could figure that out, yeah, that would be killer.
Well, I remember when I saw my first handheld PC, me personally, that was the Alienware UFO, the Project UFO or whatever. It was just a prototype, never ended up coming out, but that was Intel based. Mm-hmm. And there was I think there was like an F1 game that we could play around with, but yeah, it was Iris graphics. If Gordon were here, he'd make a joke about Iris graphics and how, you know, I guess it works, kind of thing. But you know, for Meteor Lake specifically, and they haven't shown off the demos that they were showing at the event last week. I mean, it's not really a gamer crowd, so it doesn't surprise me that they didn't have like gaming demos shown, and maybe it's too early, who knows, for software or whatnot, but they're saying with this new architecture, 2 times the performance of what is currently available. So if you think about that, if you at least kind of like imagine, okay, what could that be? Look at the handhelds that have Intel options right now. Like Aya Neo has Intel options, don't they? On some of their handhelds?
They do, yeah.
So imagine 2 times performance on that. Do you think we're in the same ballpark? Is it like, hey, you know what, we can go toe to toe with AMD, or is it at least close?
They're still behind AMD in that space, even at 2 times. I've already done this. So I had the 1260p Alder Lake Intel chipset that I've competed against. Mm-hmm. It's the same as Tiger Lake. So Tiger Lake and Alder Lake are effectively the same because those G GPUs are effectively the same. They don't really do much at all. If we take a look at it, no matter which wattage we look at it, 5 watt, 10 watt, 15 watt, 20 watt, 25 watt, AMD just destroys them. I tweeted about it a long time ago. I said, I don't know who needs to hear this. And I think that's in there, but I compared the 1260p versus 6800U at the time. And AMD's situation, even at 5 watt, was like 4 times better. Yeah. So even at the low end, this 2x per watt doesn't enter into it. At the high end, we start getting close to where AMD is, but we're still not even beating it. And that's at 6800U, not even at 7840U. With 7840U wasn't all that much better anyway, but as we start pushing up wattage, we're still like 20-30% better than 6800U. So no, they would still be behind the 8-ball. That's just from a horsepower point of view from what we have right now. That's not even counting how bad Intel's driver situation is, which is bleak.
So for you think they need to be able to compete in this space, and to, I mean, because the idea, I mean, I'm sure Intel's idea is to be winning, but from a consumer aspect, I like the idea of being like, okay, well, you can get the Aya Neo Kun. Do you want the Intel version or do you want the AMD version? And you know what, they're maybe you get some strengths and weaknesses in both, but you know, at least you have an option. In order to get there, you think it's the performance? They need more performance per watt, but then also the drivers and the software support.
Drivers huge. Like I would say, drivers is first. Performance on Arc, whatever they're claiming 2x perf per watt, that's at least entering into where we were last year, right? So okay, I can deal with that. I could also deal with that because Intel actually does a much better job than AMD does inside of TDP scopes in terms of managing that. So their power schema is actually more. It makes sense versus whatever AMD has got going. So I like Intel's implementation there, but at a performance level, fine. However, for instance, Starfield, when it launched, did not work at all on Intel GPUs. Like just a black screen.
But so that was just discrete GPU, so right? Was integrated also?
Yeah, on iGPUs. So I have a Tiger Lake over there. God of War, when that came out, there was a big texture issuing problem. There is a consistent issue. The issue has been so bad. Again, even before AMD came out to handhelds, we were using Intel for the longest time. So we have Tiger Lake handhelds so the GPD Win 3. It was so bad that a community effort has been spawned, which Intel themselves actually participate in. And the community is submitting gaming driver problems that Intel themselves are working with. It's on Git. So they have a lot of work to do.
How responsive have they been? Do you feel like they could get there?
For what it's worth, I'm really happy with them doing as much as they have been. The problem is that Intel is behind the 8-ball in a lot of ways, right? Number one is their performance isn't there yet. AMD and NVIDIA are beating them. Number two is no game development company is even considering them. So when they're making games, they're going to be talking to AMD or NVIDIA. And when Intel comes up, they're like, what are you doing here? like, no, we have a GPU. And they're just like, that's very funny. But yeah, so that's the problem that Intel has, is that even if they were to be banging on all cylinders, they have a lot of fronts that they have to be attacking on. So their work is cut out for them at the current moment.
Do you think, and this is just wild speculation, this is not something that probably Intel would want to do, but what if they were like, hey, you have an Io Neo Kun and you save $100 by doing the Meteor Lake version? So that you're like, hey, you know what? Like, you can save a little bit of money. You know, it's not as performant. There's a little more bugs, but so somebody might want to be able to have a little bit of cost savings.
I think that if they could compete on price, right? If they can just be competitive on price against AMD, that's something to consider. I think a lot of people might find that to be compelling. They might wind up regretting that choice. The one benefit is that Intel CPUs are very good. And also the power schema on Intel is very good. So there may be some way, even with this entire, with ARC being 2x, there may be somewhere in here when they're what do they call them, tiles? Their tile architecture, chiplets, that we can finesse a way where we're using very little power. Tiger Lake, for what it's worth, I could get that machine down to like 2 watt and still run indie games. So you were using like 5 watt total system power. So I was having like 10 hours of battery life on Intel, which is harder to do on AMD. So Intel does better in that respect. If this will carry forward on, leaving their monolithic approach and carry forward on their chiplet design, then they have something that's compelling there as well. So yes, if they're competitive on price and we can just kind of look at it from an extreme low power angle compared to like AMD and see how well they do, that might also be compelling, because there's also indie games, right? Indie games are going to run on this relatively well. So yes, I think that there's still an avenue that we can look at this to. There's a slice of individual that would find that compelling if the price was competitive.
Yeah, I mean, they talked a lot about the advantage of having the low power E cores, what we're calling the LPE cores on the actual SoC tile, and they're like, hey, in some situations, all you need are just those 2 cores, and you don't have to light up that full tile with all of the other compute units going on. So, like, maybe that is a benefit that they can have, to just be like, hey, this is sure it's not going to perform 1-to-1, but you want low power, you want battery life. Like Willis, like, would you rather have something that just like can go really, to the wall with performance, but you're only going to get a couple hours on the battery, or maybe another option where the battery will last a super, super long time, say 8 hours or something, but the performance is just not going to be the same.
Oh, I was kind of struggling with that with some handhelds in recent years, but it's like, okay, if I were to go on a flight, right, mm-hmm. I would prefer longer battery life, just mm-hmm. because it makes more sense. I stuck on a plane. We're going to Computex. 13-hour plane ride. That's a long time. But we can get a lot of gaming out of it. So I wish there was that better balance. But I think for me, I would still prefer better performance or better graphics. Sorry, better graphics over battery life, in my opinion.
All right. Yeah. No, interesting. And it's funny, like, for me, I actually mostly plug in on the wall. So like the situation, I usually sit on the couch in the living room. My wife will watch something on the TV, and I'm playing on the handheld. There's a wall port right there. Like, so battery life doesn't really matter to me personally. Like, I mean, I can respect it, and especially in those situations, like a flight for sure. But like I actually like being able to push the performance, which is why I ordered a Kun, because I'm curious to see how that's going to go. But yeah, so you do think Intel at least kind of has a pathway forward. I mean, obviously we haven't even seen them. That especially that 2 times performance, they didn't show us any exact charts of like games and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe they're kind of holding it back, and actually it's going to be something more like 3 times the performance. I don't know. So we just need to see some hard numbers.
Yeah. At the moment, it would just be barely competitive with last year's AMD model, last generation AMD,
which is in the Steam Deck.
Yeah. So it's like it would almost be comparable to RDNA 2, almost there. Now, with those tiles, like you said, with those low power CPU cores, and if you can just power gate all the P cores and disengage a whole bunch of tiles that don't need power, then they're going to have something that's special. I mean, as much as no one says like they don't care about battery life, I think that it's valuable. It's something that is going to be for a lot of different people, and also I know that there's a lot of people that actually do play plugged in quite often. Yeah, I just feel like there's something to be said to still being very mindful of power and performance and not needing a minimum power to achieve that to achieve a level.
I mean, yeah, because like I play on I don't know what the equivalent graphics performance of a Switch is, but I play on a Switch, and I mean it's how would you stack the performance? I guess it's hard to compare 1-to-1, but the Switch versus like the Steam Deck.
I mean, when you think about it, when you think about what the Switch is doing, it is actually still amazing to this day. And I know no one wants to hear that. No one really wants to hear that. But like the Switch is what, 8 years old? It's forever old, 7 years old. And it is running, well, the newer models like Marico and stuff, effectively they're running at 2 to 3 watt TDP for pretty much every game in a handheld state. They're using around 5 watt on the older ones total, and you're using around like 3 watt total, 4 watt total on the newer Marico sets. So you're getting 5 hours of battery life on an 18 watt hour battery. That's half the battery capacity of a Steam Deck, and getting 5 hours of battery life on like a game like Zelda or Witcher. So they are killing it by clocking these things so low and being exceedingly like they're min-maxing wherever the efficiency points are on this thing and only spending that. So they're like optimizing voltage. They're doing a lot there. So in that respect, what you are getting from Switch is actually a hyper optimized system for battery, and all of the games by developers are targeting that. So when people are complaining like Mortal Kombat 1, the new Mortal Kombat 1, they were ragging on the Switch because of how bad it looked compared to everything else. But I mean, the Switch takes less power than an LED light bulb. So
well, but I think in my mind, okay, well, what if there is a handheld, Intel based handheld, Meteor Lake based handheld that has that kind of goal of like, hey, you know what? Yeah. This is all about efficiency. This is all about battery life. You can get like a Switch like experience on it.
If you were like to put that in comparison, right? Like if you were to say if Meteor Lake was able to accomplish what they're doing in some respect, like some indie game, right? And you have these 40, 50 watt hour batteries that were on here, you're going to be looking at 13 hours of battery life, 14 hours of battery life, which is insane. That's like, ridiculous.
So yeah, I if anything, I mean, as awesome as AMD is doing, more competition is always better. Hopefully something can come of it. We will yet to see. What was it? December 19th, I think, is the Meteor Lake launch day. So who knows? Maybe at CES there's a whole new handheld that has
that'd be pretty cool.
Has an option in it. Anyway, let's switch over to Q&A because we're running a little short on time. I have a couple questions from our friends over on the Discord. If you have a question, get into the chat right now. I'm just going to be real choosy, but more importantly, if you're watching or listening to this later, go over to our Discord. There's a link to it in the description. Find folks over there, and we have a channel for full nerd questions. First question comes in from friend of the show, Master Procrastinator. Says Steam Deck, PC or console? What do you say, Carrie?
Console.
Wrong. I don't like it. That's it. We're wrapping up. We're done. We got to get out of here. Thank you for joining us. You're not coming back. Just kidding. All right. So, okay. Defend yourself. Why do you say it's a console?
Okay. So Valve has done an amazing job with Proton, Vulkan, GameScope. They've done a lot of work for a decade now, where they have been trying to lower the barriers for people that have been afraid to play games on PC. PC gaming has been a challenge for a lot of people, and most of the times anyone says, "Oh, I can play better on a PC," and they're like, "Yeah, but I just like the convenience of playing on a console." The Steam Deck has been the single, I would say, GameScope, Vulkan, and Proton have been a single layer that have reduced the amount of effort for people to play PC gaming in its entirety. There has been nothing that has been as turnkey solution as the Steam Deck has been for PC gaming ever.
Okay. No, I dig it. Wait, but you just said PC gaming. So
look,
I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, like, I consider it's PC2 is what I called it a long time ago. It's the sequel to
the sequel to
PC.
PC. Okay. I mean, you know what? We have fans in the chat who probably would love to hear the Linux is the sequel to the PC.
I mean, Gordon would say, as long as you can do your taxes, it's a PC, right?
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. No. Not giving me any shade. We love consoles here too. We do have a super chat. I totally forgot. Denever1G1, friend of the show, gave us $5 earlier. Thank you so much. Said thank you for the show, guys. No, thank you for hanging out. They said Lenovo is so big you might find it at your college bookstore. That would be hilarious. You go to a college bookstore. You got, oh man, I got my I got my money in. My student loan money in. I got to buy my books, but I could just get the Lenovo Legion Go. That would be hilarious. All right, another question in here from the Discord. Okay. Bob Jones, 1980, just gave a question. Do you think NVIDIA will get into Windows handhelds? That's a good question.
Oh, so this is all right. So this is I tinfoil hat and all the other stuff. Remember when NVIDIA tried buying ARM and then they weren't allowed to? And do you remember the time like NVIDIA Enforce and Intel like put the boot on NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is still upset about it to this day?
Okay.
And now NVIDIA is worth like several bazillion dollars and Intel isn't. So there's always been this like looming thing in my mind was like, when is NVIDIA just going to buy Intel? So if they bought Intel to have their x86 component, then yes, I could totally see that happening. Otherwise, no, I don't think NVIDIA would come into it, because that if you take a look at NVIDIA's track record, every business partner that they've ever had, Microsoft had NVIDIA GPU, next console didn't have it. Sony didn't have it. Tesla, they left them. Everyone that is a business partner with NVIDIA eventually leaves. The only person that hasn't is Nintendo so far, and we don't even know what the Super Switch is using, though we have leaks and stuff, but we don't know what the business arrangement under whatever happened there. So no, unfortunately, NVIDIA hurts themselves in that regard too much, and that they know that they have really good stuff and they want top dollar for it, and they're not very good business partners.
That's a bummer. Okay. A couple more questions here. AJD Old Channel Archive. Hello, said your favorite handheld of all time out of all of us. All time. Not even PC. I can go first. I would say the DS Lite. That was like, man, the hardware was awesome. The games were awesome. Like I love the time, and maybe it's also a time and place just for me, because I did a lot of handheld gaming at the time. But like the DS Lite is probably my top one.
I'm gonna say the GPD Win 2 is my favorite handheld of all time.
Wow, it's pretty recent.
Well, it came out in 2017, but it was the first realization that everything I thought was possible could be possible. It was as if literally I had made a wish and it came true. I actually said that in my review, and it was everything I ever wished for. And it was almost surreal to physically use it in my hands. So that is probably my favorite one.
Dang. Okay. Willis?
You took mine. It's also DS Lite.
Oh, DS Lite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. I had a lot of great games with it. My favorite one was it was a Jump Star, where you basically play a bunch of anime characters, and on the bottom of the screen it's like those manga like
panels
that you can just like tap and then just like do attacks and all that stuff. It was awesome.
That's funny. Okay, I dig it. Satnav asks the Fox, what's on the shelf behind you? Should point out some fun stuff.
Oh, that's a laser printed wood panel that someone made for me at LTX.
Nice.
That's a Vectrex behind me. If you've never seen a vector-based display, you really should.
Yeah.
They're super crisp. We have the Odyssey 2 over here, TurboGrafx 16 up over here. Down here, it's basically just a bunch of stuff. I have a Turbo Express. I don't know if you can see that right there. So there's a little handle there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a bunch. I got the 360 PCB over there. I have the PS3 PCB down. I can't probably see it. So this is the PS3 PCB.
Nice.
So
processing, man.
Yeah, it's just it's basically like a small museum of hardware.
I love it. And then last question, we'll get out of here from friend of the show, Ziv. I'm curious what you think of handhelds that lean closer to being mini laptops like the GDP. Oh, we kind of already answered that one. So, yeah, you love them. They're your favorite.
Yeah. I use it. I'm using it right now. I've been using it for months now. It's been my desktop replacement.
What about handhelds becoming your phone? With that, like the iPhone 15 coming out, that just came out.
So this is something that I've been. If you actually look me up, Engadget called me the Power Mad modder in 2011. They wrote an article about me. They said that I was the Power Mad modder. I had turned a Samsung Epic 4G into a gaming phone, so I just ripped off the keys on the keyboard part of it and made like a D-pad and buttons. So they called me the Power Mad modder. I'm actually a firm believer in gaming phones being where we need to go, especially we take a look at streaming, like xCloud and GeForce Now, all these other technologies that we have with 5G. So the hurdle has always been playing natively on the handheld itself, which hasn't really been there. I am a firm believer that gaming phones should exist. And I've been asking everyone. I've been asking Ioneo. I've been asking GPD, saying, where are your phones? Please, I want it. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, and we're getting even more Android-based options on the higher end as well. Like, I feel like that's a big market.
Yeah, so this is the Ioneo Pocket Air.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the Odin 2 just finished up, so they're going to be shipping out those whenever. But yeah, when you take a look at the high end of what those are, I wish that those companies would do something. It kind of kills me a little bit inside because, LG made their Wing phone, the last phone that they ever made.
Yeah, we actually still have that here.
Yeah, so it's a phone that flips sideways and like makes a T of itself.
Yeah.
And Lenovo was like, oh, we're out of ideas, guys. We don't know what to do. We're going to exit the phone industry. It's like, that is what you did as like your last phone. Like a gaming phone was worse, a worse idea than that. That's what kills me about it, is that they're doing all these weird designs, phones that taco in half. And I don't know. It's crazy to me. I don't know why a gaming phone doesn't exist yet.
Well, I mean, I remember I reviewed the original Razer phone, and I loved that thing for a number of reasons. High refresh rate, obviously, the front-facing speakers were amazing, but also that thing was built like a damn tank. So it was just like, I didn't worry about having a case on it or anything like that. The second one I didn't like as much, but yeah, like I love gaming phones. For sure. So I'm totally with you. Bring back the N-Gage, right?
Yeah. The Xperia Play. Sony never made it. They wouldn't let them call it the PlayStation phone. It was just the Xperia Play. They sent that out with a Spartan Def, and then they just never came back out with it.
Yeah. Crazy. You know what else is crazy? That we need to get out of here. Unfortunately, we got places to be. So check back next week for your fix of PC talk here on The Full Nerd. To listen to us on the go, point your podcatcher of choice at an RSS feed. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and if you are on one of those services, please leave us a review. Every time you do, the Fox gets a new handheld in to test. I need to see him test more, so please leave a review, and he'll get more tests for us. Carrie, thank you so much for stopping by. I love chatting with you. We need to have you on again for damn sure.
Please. Yes, I would love it. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's a good time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Sorry it's a little bit short of our show. We got some timing constraints here, but Willis is going to get us out of here. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's a trip down memory lane, just listening to you, all these old handhelds. Maybe go boot up your old DS Lite. I know I'm going to look for mine, actually.
Do it.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.